Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Alright, y'all, today we're going to be talking about the staff behind episode 216. If you guys don't know exactly what that is, it's going to be specifically Naruto and Sasuke versus Isshiki Otsutsuki for the first time. Obviously in the other dimension where Boruto took them to, or technically is Momoshiki's dimension, but that's the topic for another video. But I do want to give a huge shout out to Anime Blue. Anime Blue is the person who tweets out the staff behind all the episodes. And another big thing about Anime Blue has all the episodes in like a huge thread. Anime Blue has episodes up until episode 219, so if you guys do want to actually check that out, be my guest. But regardless, into the actual staff right here, the first thing that I do notice when I look at staff, it has to be the studio. Studios are very telling in regards to actual animation. Now, the biggest one that I do see right here is obviously Studio Parrot. Studio Parrot is behind all of the absolutely elite episodes in the Boruto series. Boruto episode 65, Naruto and Sasuke vs Momoshiki behind episode 204, specifically Naruto and Sasuke vs Jigen at 189, specifically Kawaki vs Garo. A bunch of episodes like that, the great episodes Parrot is on. Now Jiwoo Animations, they do not have that same reputation, but Jiwoo working with Parrot is very interesting. For example, they worked on Boruto episode 186. That right there is, I think, Boruto versus Ao. In that episode, the animation looked absolutely amazing. So in regards to animation, I'm going to be looking for it to be like very similar to this. This episode right here isn't the most elite of elites of animation, but for a regular anime, this right here is absolutely amazing. I know Boruto is kind of viewed on like a different standard, mainly because hand-to-hand combat in Boruto or just the Naruto series in general is absolutely elite, but this episode right here, animation-wise, was very good, and I'm expecting that episode 216 to look very similar to this with the same amount of quality or possibly even better. All right, so now we can get into the staff. First things first is going to be the director, Ayumu Ono. This right here is a very good name. I'm pretty sure I recall this person working on episode 207. If you guys want to recall episode 207, this is specifically Team 7 versus Boro. And in this episode right here, I personally didn't really expect it to be this good. I think the best feature of this is obviously Sada using her Chidori. Animation wise, again, it wasn't necessarily on like Momoshiki versus Naruto and Sasuke level, but this right here was absolutely amazing. Like everything about it was absolutely crisp. This right here looked amazing. So this person being the director of this episode is definitely a good thing. Now the next one is going to be the storyboard. Now the storyboard is going to be written by Toshiyuki Suro. Now this right here is very interesting. In fact, I don't even have to say it myself. I think Anime Blue has a tweet that pretty much summarizes this character, or not really character, you guys know what I mean, but Anime Blue basically tweeted this out. I see a couple people asking, who is Toshiyuki Suro? He is the godfather of the Naruto franchise. Suro was the man behind one of your favorite episodes, openings, and endings. Hiroyuki, Yamashita's teacher, one of the most influential people in the anime industry. So this right here, I mean, obviously, this guy being on this episode is absolutely amazing. Like, god damn, we going back into the archives, bro. Land of Waves arc. You got Gada versus Rock Lee. Oh, this right here, amazing scene with Shikamaru and his dad, Shikaku playing chess. Like literally amazing scenes. Even Naruto, even the final battle with Naruto and Sasuke. This guy right here would definitely be on the God Squad. If I'd ever name a staff team a God Squad, this guy would definitely be on it. Same with Studio Parrot, Ichiro Uno, people like that. But it needs to be all stars need to be aligned for me to call something a God Squad. All right, so the next one is going to be the animation directors. The animation directors, just from first glance, looks absolutely amazing. Very familiar names right here. Manami Sugimoto, he was on Boruto episode 208. Specifically, that was when Borishiki basically came out. So I'm super happy for this guy being on it. And not only that, he actually worked on the trailer, I believe, with Kawaki. Like this right here is absolutely, like, we didn't even expect this. Like this came out of absolutely nowhere, bro. Like we didn't even expect this. Like look at this, look how smooth and fluid this was for something coming out of nowhere. This was even before Kawaki was even introduced. I'm like, yo, we already know what Kawaki gonna look like. The introduction not even gonna mean that much, but regardless, this right here is absolutely fire. So I'm super happy for him actually being on this episode right here. Now there's other good names on this episode as well. Let's see. Next we got Kazuya Saito. Saito is actually a very good name. Saito actually worked on Boruto versus, or Team 7 I should say, versus Deepa, which is like the last battle. Literally everybody loved this episode. People were actually saying that this episode might have been possibly at this time probably the second best episode that we've ever really seen before. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily completely go there, but I could definitely see where people were coming from. So that person Saito being in this episode is definitely a very good sign Hopefully he does have some very good impact. Now, the other person on this episode, Tsutomu Ono. Ono also worked on Boruto episode 207. I just showed that to you guys. Basically, when Sada first used her Shidori. The next one is going to be Park My-young Hoon. Hoon specifically worked on Boruto episode 171. If you guys don't necessarily recall what that was, this is basically when Sada fought against Sakura, I'm pretty sure, and also Boruto fought against, I keep on forgetting this guy's name, but the leader of the Mujino Bandits. But I think the better animated fight would possibly be Sada versus Sakura, just because of this last scene right here. It looked absolutely amazing. Like, everybody loved this right here. Again, another thing that was completely unexpected. No one really expected this right here to actually go down. Everybody loved it. That's pretty much it for the animation directors. I think the last one is going to be the screenplay. The screenplay is kind of confusing. Like, this right here, without the screenplay, now don't get me wrong, I think Honda is very amazing. He's definitely not a bad screenplay person or anything like that, but I'm just saying, with this right here, I would possibly say this right here is a dream team. But the screenplay is confusing. Like, this is an elite team slash dream team. I feel like if Jiwoo wasn't in it and it was just Studio Period and you take out Masaya Honda, this would be a dream team. It's just missing a couple of key animators like Ichiro Uno and stuff like that, and then it'll possibly be a God Squad. But I'm confused with this one. I think the last episode Masaya Honda worked on was probably Boruto episode 209. I think that was when they lost the puppy, or the puppy actually died. This is like the Kawaki and Himawari episode. It was cool. It was definitely a cool episode, but let's keep it a G. It wasn't anything too crazy. Like, but then again, this guy's not necessarily animating anything like that. He's just behind the script. So again, you can't necessarily expect too much from that. So I'm not necessarily gonna downgrade it too much. I'm still gonna say, should I call this a dream team? It's close, bros. It's close. It is close. This is a borderline elite slash dream team. I think Boruto episode 16 is gonna look absolutely amazing. Obviously it's not necessarily gonna be on Momoshiki versus Naruto and Sasuke level, not just yet. I think they're saving that for Baara mode Naruto. But as of right now, I mean, this right here, it's looking real good. It's looking real. If we come away with this episode, which is totally possible, if we come away with this episode not satisfied, I would be shocked. But again, this is possible, mainly because Boruto episode 199 was a dream team. A lot of people didn't necessarily like that episode and how it was animated. I think Boruto episode 214 also kind of disappointed. Yeah, Studio Period. Yeah, a lot of the big hitters and hard hitters was on this episode as well. Some people walked away with that a little bit disappointed. So I'm not necessarily gonna say that it's impossible, but I'd be hard pressed. Like, this staff right here looks good. This staff looks good. I'm gonna say borderline elite to dream team. That's what I'm gonna say. That's what I'm gonna say. But let me know what you guys think about the staff in the comment section below. What do you guys expect this episode to look like? Again, I think it's gonna look absolutely amazing. I think if you guys are looking for a reference, look at Boruto vs. Al, specifically Boruto episode 186. That episode right there in itself looked really, really good. But it's been your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.